So a couple weeks ago I made a post on this subreddit about a Pokemon Go Plus mod that I made. Basically what it was is you rewire the vibration motor to the button, so every time it gets a vibration signal it pushes the button. And what that ends up doing is it automatically catches Pokemon and spins Pokestops, anything that's in range. It will automatically take care of for you. And it has the added benefit of you don't have the vibration motor connected, and that saves battery. Pretty much the reason I did this was when I'm driving around, I want to be able to just kind of set it and forget it. So I got a lot of feedback on that post asking for a video. This is that video. I'm going to cover what's inside of the Pokemon Go Plus, how to wire it so that it automatically catches stuff, and I actually got a second Plus for the purposes of demonstration here, and I added a switch on the side that switches between the normal functionality and the automatic catch mode. So this actually still has the vibration motor in it. It will turn off when you're on the automatic setting, and it will vibrate and function totally normally as you would expect out of the box when the switch is off. Okay, for tools, you're going to need a Y0 bit screwdriver to get at the security screws on the back of the Plus. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver to take the battery cover off. I would recommend you have a couple pairs of tweezers on hand because there's some little itty bitty things that are hard to get a hold of. You're going to need some 30 gauge wire. Anything bigger than this, there's just not room in the case. Even though this is a little bit frustrating to work with, it is the only thing there's really room for. You're going to want some Spdt switches. I had a bag of them laying around. These were much too large. They worked. I mean, I got it in there, but if I were to do this again, I would certainly use smaller switches. This is just what I had lying around at home. It's important that you get the Spdt switch. They have 3 terminals on them. I don't know if you can see that, but the middle one is the power source, and then on either side is where it routes that power to. So you're not going to have the vibration motor on when you're in automatic mode, and when we turn automatic mode off, the vibration motor turns back on. You're going to need a soldering iron. This is a very forgiving soldering job. I am a horrifically bad solderer, and I was afraid to do this the first time I did it, but it's very forgiving. You can mess it up over and over, and as long as you're careful about where you're getting solder, there's not a lot you can do to break this board. The components are pretty spread out, so as long as you're not shorting anything, it'll be just fine. You're going to want a Dremel tool to carve out the plastic to make room for a switch, as well as you're going to have to do some modification of the inside of the case to make room for the vibration motor. We actually move it a little bit. Other than that, you're going to want some wire cutters, some strippers, and that's about it. This build takes, give or take, 2 or 3 hours. It took me about 4 because I was having to figure out how the heck I'm going to put this switch in, which won't be a problem for you, 1, because I've already figured it out for you, and 2, because hopefully you use a smaller switch than I did. So this is the Plus I got for the purpose of this build. I'm going to want to open up the back using a regular Phillips screwdriver, and then underneath the battery there are 2 security screws. So you'll see the battery pops up, and then there is a security screw on either side under the battery, as well as one at the top. So you're going to want to take all of these out. Make sure you place them somewhere, a paper cup or something. Not setting a very good example here, but you're going to not want to lose those. Once you've taken them all out, you can pop the black plastic casing open, and you'll see you have the board, the vibration motor, and the button there. So you can separate all those pieces and set them aside. So the first step of this process is to remove that weather stripping, the waterproofing, as well as the nut there at the back of the black plastic device, and then you are going to start cutting. It's very important that you do not cut into the screw post that's at the very tip of the device. You can see I'm test fitting my switch here, trying to figure out, I'd already done a little bit of cutting here, but I'm trying to figure out just how I want this thing to fit into the device. That's actually almost exactly where the switch ended up going. So I just start cutting away. On the black piece, you can cut all the way until it's level with the inside of the case. You can cut away that whole wall pretty safely, and it doesn't have any effect on the integrity of the device. And on the white plastic bit, you can cut away everything with the exception of the screw post. It's very important that you do not touch the screw post on either the black piece or the white piece. So here's the final test fitting of this switch. I first am trying it without the board in the case, just making sure everything fits nice and snug. And then I go ahead and I plop the board in there, making sure the vibration motor is where it's going to go and everything. And I test fit the switch again. You don't want to make all these cuts and then find out that your board no longer fits. That's what the board looks like for the Plus. In the middle, that gold bit, you have your button. Down towards the bottom, you're going to see two metal contacts that have wires attached to our vibration motor. We only care about the black wire. We are going to leave the white wire where it is. We are going to desolder the black cable and then attach it to our switch. We're going to take the middle contact on the switch and connect it with our 30 gauge wire to the contact where the motor used to be connected. Then we're going to connect the third contact on the switch to the button portion. It's very important that you just attach it to the upper left contact on the button, the silver part of the button. And also be sure not to short out connections with either of the components that are above the button there. That is the LED up top, and it's easy to short out. So make sure you are getting your solder down and to the left, if anything, if your soldering is going to be sloppy. This is the desoldering of the black cable from the motor. All you got to do is just give it a little tap with the soldering gun and the solder will melt and you can pull the cable right out. And then you are going to just solder that black cable to one of the outside contacts on your switch. Now it seems like I skipped ahead here, but that's because I forgot to record a section and I ended up re-recording it. But this is connecting that blue cable in the diagram from the button to the third contact on the switch. You're just going to put a bead of solder on that upper left contact of the button, just on the silver bit, and solder your wire. The most important thing is that the solder is not too tall and is not directly over the gold part of the button, because then you won't be able to push it with the plastic regular button push. And then again, making sure that your solder is not touching the LED or the other component that's above it. And here's the re-recorded connecting of the middle terminal to where the black cable from the motor used to go. So now all the soldering is done, everything's hooked up, and I just had to figure out how I'm going to get all these components to fit inside of that case. There's not very much real estate at all, and after a few test fittings I realized that I'm going to have to flip the vibration motor around because the switch was blocking the spinning portion of the motor. So what I did is I just carved out a lot of the plastic that was holding the vibration motor in place to make room for the head at the tip of it, and then I ended up hot gluing the vibration motor down. You can see there the vibration motor is opposite of its original orientation. I ended up also having to carve out some room in the top black plastic portion just to make room for it to spin. When you're carving out that black plastic portion, make sure that you are not carving out the screw hole or you're going to have a pretty bad time. So this is the final product, and as you can see it's vibrating as you would normally expect. Push the button, it just functions exactly like the Plus originally did. I ended up hot gluing around the switch just to make sure no debris gets back in there and make sure that it's all secure. When you go ahead and flip that switch, it turns it into automatic mode. That mutes the vibration function, and you can see it just automatically we'll spin Pokestops and catch Pokemon. I haven't done a video like this before. I hope it was clear enough. If you have any questions, you can DM me on Reddit or leave a comment on this video. Thanks.